I'm honored to be able to be here with all of you today. There is nothing greater than being able to share my story with people who are also living a great story and of impact. When I met Ted, I had just came in to speak for an engagement. I'd been up all night, I had been struggling and stuff, but when I met him, he shared his heart with me, and I said, wherever you need me, I'll come and I'll serve and I'll speak. And so tonight I'm sitting here, and I just want to take a moment and connect with you all. Thank you, Coach, for what you shared. Ruby, seeing what you've done and hearing your story, and I hope you use that laptop to do something amazing. Because in this room, our goal is to be able to raise funds so that we can keep things going, so that people like Ruby, people like the next Ruby, will be able to have opportunities towards the future. So if you would do me a favor, tonight make sure that we give. If I can get somebody to make a decision to do that now, please do. I don't know if we have a URL or something where they can do so. There you go, it's on the table, use it, make sure that you give. Would you do that? Now let me begin. When I walked up here, you may have noticed that I have great legs. I am a leg model. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. Now let me tell you the story of how I became that model. When I was born, I had poor blood circulation, but they misdiagnosed it. My mom didn't know exactly what to do with a baby that was born with a disability. But at 3 months of age is when I had my very first surgery. My mom struggled at 18 to take care of a kid with a disability, so she turned to her mom and gave her this responsibility. Imagine if she would have had Little Lambs to go to and could have got some of those needs met. Maybe that would have relieved some of her fears or stresses or problems, because how do I take a kid and make him a champion? How do I make someone rise above the situation that they're in if I can't feel like one myself? And so she gave me away to my grandmother. My father was 18 as well, and he's like, I can't help, I don't know what to do with that, and I'm confused, and how in the world could I have a child with a disability? And so my father said, I can't accept a boy that's disabled. So I have a mom that gives me away and a father who denies me because of my disability. Something I couldn't control, had nothing I could have done about it, but I start off life being rejected and being pushed away by everybody that's supposed to love me. My grandmother takes me in and she's taking care of me. And I'm in a wheelchair, and every 6 months I keep going in and having a surgery. When I get done with one surgery, I go to recovery and I end up in another surgery. So my entire life until I'm 11 is spent going from rehab to wheelchair to a walker, back to surgery, and then I go back to a wheelchair. I had never taken a step. The things that I'm doing right now in front of you, I was not able to do until I was 11. And the only reason I was able to do so is because there was a neighbor. And the neighbor said to my grandmother, what's wrong with the boy that's always on the porch? And she said, we can't figure it out. They keep doing these surgeries, and we're hoping we can find something. And he said, listen, I'm a Shriner, and I would love to do something amazing for you and your family. And he made a decision to invest time into me and to find out my story. He then takes us to Chicago to the Shriners Hospital, where I got to find out about that there were other kids like me. I was used to going to the hospital, but there were experiences I'd never had until I got to the Shriners Hospital, because I saw kids who were like me. We were on tour and they were taking us through, and I'm in my wheelchair. My mom and dad had to be with me because there had to be the actual guardians to bring me to the hospital to leave me there for surgery. They asked me as I'm getting ready to have the surgery, James, do you want to have an amputation? I said, what's an amputation? They said, we're going to end up taking away your leg, and then we'll be able to get you to walk. And because I was accustomed to always having it, after every surgery, it kept saying I would get better, and it never happened. But the idea of me losing my leg, I didn't want to do, because at least I had known this, and I could get up and I could get out the wheelchair, get to a walker before another surgery. And they were like, this will end it all, but we got to take your leg. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. My mom and dad take me on tour there. I'm from Indiana, but I'm in Chicago. While I'm there, I meet other kids, and that part's great. They take me into a room, though, and my mom and dad are sitting in a room with me, and they were like, listen, we got to leave you here. I'm accustomed to that. I'm used to being left and isolated. I'm used to being in a hospital room by myself. I'm not worried about that. My father is there, and I'm not used to him being there, but finally he's here to comfort me. And my dad tells me then, he takes a necklace off of himself and puts it in my hand and said, if you ever need me, mail that to me, and I'll be there for you. And I thought, finally, my dad's going to be in my life. If I ever am in trouble and I need some help, my father's going to be there if I simply let them know. My mom comes in right after him and says, baby, we got to go, but I want you to be good. Make sure you listen to everybody. And I'm like, yes, ma'am, no problem. The only thing that I don't have is my grandmother as I'm being left there. You see, my grandmother had been my lighthouse from the day I was born. In every dark moment from the time my mom and dad left me, my grandmother had been there, but now I'm in a hospital in a whole nother state by myself without her, but I'm used to going through the surgeries, and when I come out, I'll get back to the lighthouse. You see, this time was different. When they left me in the hospital, I've got two roommates now. One named Matt, one named Gilbert. My two roommates are two kids with two totally different stories. On my left side is Gilbert, he's 12. Gilbert is paralyzed from the neck down because some kid pushed him over a balcony. He falls and he is in this situation for life. No fault of his own, but Gilbert can only communicate with us because there's a mirror on the ceiling, and as we talk, we would talk all night and see each other's faces because he was always on his back. He could only rotate left and right, but peripheral was too hard. It was easier to just look up and talk, and that's how we communicate all night long. And on my right-hand side is Matt. Matt is 8, but he's the size of a newborn, or at least maybe a toddler, small toddler. He's deformed in many different ways, but he's got a great personality. He talks all day, and his mom and dad are with him every day. They are always there. From the time visitors start to the time he goes to bed, mom and dad are always there, and they always loved on the both of us. When I think back on that moment, how wonderful it was to have somebody support me in my dark hours. And then all of a sudden, it got darker. You see, my friend Matt goes back for surgery. And when Matt goes to surgery, we tell him, good luck, we'll see you in a minute. He goes away, he waves, love you, love you. He goes off to have his surgery. Later that night, Matt's not back yet. We're waiting on him. He's still not there. Later that night, his mom and dad come into the room and they start giving us his toys. They give us teddy bears that were in the bed with him. We're like, thank you, but where's Matt? And they said, Matt's gone home. And I was like, man, he didn't even say bye or anything. But when's he coming? And they were like, no, Matt went home with the Lord. Matt's no longer with us. He didn't make it. And I want to thank you for making every one of his days great. Thank you for being his friend. Thank you for being there for him. Thank you for being his lighthouse in a dark place. And it dawns on me for that moment, my first friend just died. Wait a minute. Kids die in here. The next day, Gilbert is still laying there and he's quiet with me because no one's there to comfort me. There's no Ted coming in to speak into our lives and help supply what's missing. I'm like, Gilbert, you okay? We're talking and we're crying with each other. He said, yeah, but I got one good thing coming. My mama is finally coming to see me tomorrow. And so Gilbert is excited about his mom coming in. They change him out of our robes and stuff and put on regular clothes, and they pick his hair out. They're all excited. His mom is coming, and he's been excited about this. This is the silver lining in a very dark night, and it's very difficult for us to imagine what it was like for him to wait every day and every night for her to come. And then finally he gets word that she's coming right after we just lost our friend. Finally, his mom is walking in the room, and I see him perk up, and they grab the curtain and they close it to give privacy. The problem is, we still got a mirror, and I'm still watching. You know how kids are, we could be nosy. His mom would be talking to me, see him looking up, she'd look up, she'd see me, and I put my head down like I'm not looking. We're sitting there, and I remember smiling back at him, and he's smiling because his mama came. But this time the conversation goes a little different. They didn't close the curtain for privacy to keep me out. It was so that she could have a difficult conversation with Gilbert. His mom walks in and she stands over him and she said, "Baby, listen, I got to tell you something. They told me you are not going to get any better. The paralyzed aspect of your life is for life. And I got to tell you, I am too young to take care of you. I can't do it alone. I just can't do it." And he's like, "Okay, mama." And then she says, "So you got to understand that I'm giving up my rights to you. That this is goodbye for me and you, baby. I just can't do it. I need you to understand that if I could do it, I would do it. I just can't do it. And I got to tell you that I love you, but I can't do it." And she turns to walk away. No hug, no kiss, no goodbye. Gilbert is sitting there, and all I hear him saying is, "Mama, please." And then he goes, "Mercy." And the first time I ever heard a kid beg for mercy is right then and there. In that dark moment, there is no lighthouse because there is no hope left in that room. Matt is dead, and Gilbert just got left, and he starts talking to me. The curtain pulls back, and he's biting his tongue, holding his breath, trying to take his life, and they keep coming in, talking to him, and he won't talk to me. "Hey, Gil, I'm still here, man." Nothing. Hope died in the room. And then it dawned on me. Gilbert got abandoned and Matt died. He won't talk. And my friend is gone. My mom and dad just dropped me off in a different state, 4 hours away from the woman who is my lighthouse. Nobody's coming back for me. My grandmother struggled with reading and writing, and she has no transportation. And I start to fear, what if she doesn't come back for me? What if they don't tell her where I am? What if nobody comes for me? What if I'm going to die in here? Or what if mom and dad come? If they left me and didn't even tell me. And I wake up the next morning, and the very surgery I said, "No, I don't want to have it," they did on me without talking to me, and I wake up and my leg is gone and there's no family around me. Doctor comes in and he's like, "James, are you okay? How you feeling?" And I'm angry. I'm angry because you took something from me and I can't envision what can be, because how am I going to walk again? How am I going to get up and do everything that I've dreamed of all my life? I've no chance because of what you just took from me. And then all of a sudden, he leans in close to try to comfort me. And I've been waiting on that moment. I grab my pillow and he's like, "Are you?" I got him real quick. Doctors are not very fast, I'm telling you. So I got him. It's with a pillow, but next thing I know, they strapped me down. I'm locked up. And I'm like, I can't believe that. I can't get him again, but I'm angry. They call and tell my mom what happens. And all of a sudden, next day, I hear this lady walking in all fast. And I see it, it's my mom. And I'm fearful that if I say the wrong thing, if I do the wrong thing, she's going to leave me, like Gilbert's mom. As I'm sitting there, my mom walks in and she's angry and she says, "What is this that I hear that you've been talking back to adults?" And all I can think of, I'm sorry, Mom, because I don't want her to leave me, but a nurse had been talking to me after that incident, and she said, "James, I've been here 30 years, and I'm going to tell you something. I have seen kids in your situation get a leg, get up and start playing sports the very same year. You will get up and you'll walk, you'll run, and you've never done those things before, but I promise you, you will." So I decide when Mom comes in, I don't want her to leave me, so I need to tell her something better than what Gilbert told his mom. And I need to say something so that she will stay with me and be my lighthouse because I feel dark. And in that moment, as my mom is asking, what is this I hear that you're talking back to adults? And I say, "Mom, I'm sorry." And my mom goes, "Don't you ever talk back to adults again." She comes in as a disciplinarian. And I'm begging, I was like, yes, ma'am, I will never do it again, because in my mind, this is her goodbye. All of a sudden, she stops, and for a moment, in that pause, I jumped in and said, "But wait, listen, this nurse that's here, she said, Mom, that I'm going to get up, I'm going to be able to walk, I'm going to play sports, I'm going to get around, I'm going to be able to do stuff, and one day I can be a champion, I can do all these great things, I can rise out of this situation." That's what she told me. And my mom told the nurse, "Stop giving him false hope. He's a cripple. It's all he's ever been, it's all he will ever be. This boy has no shot at doing that." I turned back to the nurse like, "Is that true?" And she said, "Ma'am, let me tell you, I know it looks bad now, but James will get up. James will be able to do some amazing things. He will run, he will play sports, he'll do all these things." And my mom said, "Ma'am, stop giving him false hope." She looks at me and she says, "Son, you are a cripple. Do you understand me?" And I looked back at the nurse and my mom got offended, so she slaps me. She said, "Hey, do you hear me? You are a cripple. That's all you are. Do you understand me?" And out of the fear of her leaving me, abandoning me, and leaving me in that hospital, I broke down and said, "Yes, ma'am, I do understand. I'm a cripple. I won't be anything else. That's all I can be. Just don't leave me." She resigns to the fact that she said, "I just woke you up. Now you understand. That's all you will be." The thing is that most people live their lives with words from people that have formed a new world around them, that you'll never be something. And we stay stuck in that because of what somebody else said. Because they were important, they were in a position of it. And that's why we have to have a place for little lambs, that somebody will come in at that very moment when you're at your lowest, when a young mom is struggling. "I don't have anything, but I'm trying, I'm fighting as much as I can to take care of my kid, to keep my kid. I could throw my kid away like what was done to me, but I'm staying in the fight if you'll stand with me." Lighthouses. My mom finally leaves the room, but my hope left as well. And I'm afraid, what if she didn't say bye? Nurse stops and says, "James, the grandmother you told me about, do you know her phone number?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, it's 765-649-9882. She calls my grandmother. And my grandmother, without the ability to read, without the ability to write, had never left Indiana since she got there as a 13-year-old, goes to the Greyhound bus station. She counts out the money, gives it to them. She could trust everyone to tell her how to get to Chicago. She gets there to the hospital. And as I'm sitting there wondering if will anybody ever be my lighthouse again? Will anybody show up for me? Will anybody step in and fight for me? Or am I like Gilbert? Have my mom, dad left me for nothing? Or will I die in here? My lighthouse walks into the hospital and starts saying, "Baby, where are you?" I hear it's got kryptonite, and baby, if you can just get up and rise, you can be a champion. She walked in and was my lighthouse. That's why I'm thankful for every one of you in here that is willing to be a lighthouse in somebody's dark moment. What she did for me and coming for me lifted me. Her being there for me is why I'm here with you now. She made me believe that I could rise and be a champion, that I don't have to have all my parts, but I could be whole without parts, that I could become somebody. And so I began to play sports. I played basketball. I was looking to prove to people that I was valid, but you don't have to in this place because we validate one another. I am there for you and you are there for me, and all God's little lambs have a right to be loved on. We have an opportunity to raise up champions. Kids like Ruby's son, 7 pounds, that one day he will carry a great weight because somebody cared for her, that cared for him, that allowed him to grow. And one day he will be a champion for someone else. I need every one of you to stand in like my grandmother stood in for me. That you will give something so that we can do something for someone. We can be a lighthouse in a dark place. Let me close with this. I wanted to play basketball because in Indiana, basketball players got girls. And it took me a long time to get one, and when I did get one, I lied to her about me losing my leg. In fact, I kept pants on, and I told my wife now that the reason why I limp is because I have a knee brace. And she was like, a knee brace? Yes, that's right. And so anytime she would come close to touch my leg, I'd be like, hey, listen, I'm waiting till marriage. There's no, we're not gonna do that. And she's like, listen, right before we get married, is there anything you wanna tell me? And she tells me all her secrets. She said, yes, I cheated in algebra. I looked off other people's paper. Horrible person. All these things she does, and she says, is there anything that you need to tell me? And I pause for a moment and I tell her, nope, that's it, that's all. On our wedding night, I turned the lights off to set an atmosphere. And then I started hopping. Because the light's off, she doesn't know. She's like, why are you making all that noise? She turned the light on and ta-da! And I do, as she says, my best Captain Morgan. I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, that's right. She's like, what happened? I was like, are you shallow? I mean, this really had happened. And so then I was like, listen, okay, so I stretched the truth. It's not a knee brace. It's a extended brace. As I sit here and I think back over the course of my life, I think about the fact that without the prosthetic, the very thing that I used to be ashamed of, without going through the sense of abandonment and no one having that back, I don't get to rise and find out that I could be a champion. But I had to champion a cause, I had to champion my own life, and I had to find something that would motivate me to get up and go. And I began to play sports because I wanted to prove that I was just like every other kid. So I tried out for basketball team the same year that I lose my right leg. I show up and we're running back and forth and I can't keep up with the other kids. They're doing this thing called suicides or death valleys and I can't keep up and I get cut. So I come back the next year and the coach is like, this kid again? And I was like, coach, put me in the game. Coach is like, listen, you got to try out and make the team first. I was like, I'm going to make the team. See, the year before they cut me because I couldn't run the mile at under 6 minutes. I wasn't able to keep up with the things, but every day after that cut, I ran a mile. Every day I got up and I did those drills, and I decided that there was nothing going to stop me from making this team. I kept on running with every other kid. They ran, we touched. I touched the lines, we go back and forth. And at the end of every time I'd run, I'd pause, I'd put my hands on my hips, and I'd Superman pose. And he said, we keep running till every man grabs the bottom of their shorts, which is the universal sign of I quit. I was like, I can't quit. So I'm standing there, and all the other kids start to get mad. Like, man, we got to keep running until you grab them shorts. And I was like, no, I can't quit. The more we keep running, we keep going, and everybody else is giving up. And as I'm going back, the worst thing I never thought would happen happens. As I go to turn, I dislocate my knee. All my hope, all my dreams seem to die. I'm sitting there on the floor, my leg is disconnected, and I push it back in place. The teammates turn their back on me. The coach says, stop, you don't need to do this. And I remember them saying that you gave it your all. But there was something inside of me that says, I got to get up again. Something said, I can't leave it like this. I put too much effort in. I prepared all my days for this. I ran when it was cold outside. I got up when no one else wanted to. And there was no way in the world I'm going to let this stop me. And so I get up, and they're like, stop. And I start hopping on one leg to get there. And the more I hopped, and finally I put some pressure on it, and I keep going, and I keep going. And as I keep going, they started joining in with me. And after a while, the entire unity that we built there, we became a family, we became a team. And then the coach cut me again. But here's the thing. I discovered that I didn't have to quit. And that whether somebody accepts me or not, I am still valid. I am still one of God's little lambs. But it takes all of us working together. Imagine if you leave Ted by himself and his wife, and the volunteers, they'll all do the work, and they get disjointed, and they're almost to the point of quitting. But we know what will keep them from quitting? Is instead of us watching them struggle, is if everybody in here begins to give something. If you can give 100, if you can give 1,000, if you can give 500, if you can do that, we can get up and we can do something so that no one feels like they're laying in a hospital without help, with the possibility of dying to their dreams and hopes or being abandoned. I'm asking you all to be somebody's lighthouse and somebody's champion. Until we meet again, I'm James Dixon. Thank you for having me.